Chapter 34, in which hiss. Before this trip, I assumed pepper spray got its name because it's a chemical concoction that mimics the sensation of someone spraying pepper juice in your eyes. But it turns out the active ingredient in pepper spray is capsaicin, a naturally occurring compound found in, what else? Peppers. So pepper spray doesn't mimic the sensation of someone spraying pepper juice in your eyes so much as it is someone squirting pepper juice in your eyes. Fitz told me later, because he's into weird stuff like this, that people who measure pepper heat measure it in something called Scoville heat units, and typical law enforcement grade spray measures between 500,000 and 5 million Scoville units, depending on dilution. I can't say for certain how many Scoville units the pepper spray our driver kept under his seat contained, but I can say with all manner of certainty it burned with the intensity of 1,000,000 suns when he sprayed it in my eyes. Our escape was going well. Too well. Our driver, make that Mr. Dufresne's driver, had merged onto the A1 motorway, and the rhythmic bumping of the road, combined with the light tapping rain on the roof, combined with the fact I'd slept maybe one of the last 36 hours, all but forced me to lean my head against the window and rest my eyes for a moment. I woke with a jolt 15 minutes later when our driver blared his horn at a Vespa that cut us off on Boulevard Périphérique, the bypass highway that loops around Paris. It's disorienting enough to doze off in class and wake up not knowing where you are, but waking up on a foreign motorway in the back seat of a strange car with Parker and Garland was a whole other level of where the hell am I? I rubbed my eyes and asked, "Where are we?" to no one in particular. "We're in Paris," Garland said. "We left the airport 20 minutes ago. Are you okay, son?" "Just sleepy," I said, and leaned my head back against the window, this time fighting to keep my eyes open. I suppose even beautiful cities have ugly highways, and Paris is no exception. On first impression, the French capital didn't look much different from Atlanta. I saw a few faceless glass office buildings, but it was mostly concrete walls and tunnels. Only the street signs and car brands looked foreign. "So this is Paris?" I asked. 2 million people live here, son. It ain't all Eiffel Towers and bistros." Parker sat between us, gripping the straps of her backpack so tight that her knuckles were white, and I tapped her on the leg and said, "Hey, you okay?" She looked at me for the first time since the soldiers escorted us off the plane and asked, "Am I what?" "Are you okay?" I asked again, and in a whisper she repeated each word of the question before blowing the cobwebs away with a quick shake of her head and saying, "Of course I'm okay. I'm eating crazy cheese like you'd think I'm in Paris." "What?" "Beastie Boys, Edwin Green. God, do you only listen to Sadie Evans albums?" "Shut up," I said, and after a moment added, "But seriously, you're okay?" "I'm okay," she said, this time with a smile. "I just lost myself for a minute there." "I think we all did," I said, and wanted to squeeze her hand or hug her or something, but I wasn't sure if I should. So I leaned over and asked Garland, "Is that your trick?" "Son, I don't know what you're talking about." "I think you do. Telling people your sad story of lost love before asking them to recall a love of their own. It turns people into mindless zombies willing to do your bidding." Garland winked. "That's just one of my tricks." I smiled and leaned my head against the window and watched the concrete go by, but minutes later we looped off the motorway into a tunnel and popped out on the Avenue de la Grande Armée, a wide, tree-lined, stone-paved boulevard that looked like the Paris from postcards and Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. The rain had begun to clear, and ahead in the distance, silhouetted by the morning sun, sat the Arc de Triomphe. I let out a dumbfounded, "Wow." And as we crept through the snarl of morning commuters, Parker leaned over me, her hand high enough on my thigh I had trouble breathing, and she craned her neck to get a better look at the beautiful apartment buildings lining the road, while I tried and failed to be a gentleman and not look down her shirt. "This is where good Americans go when they die," Parker said, and Garland said something about how this street didn't look much different 50 years ago, when our driver's phone rang, and he answered and launched into a heated conversation in French. Parker nodded her head toward the driver, but I shrugged. He spoke way too fast for me to translate. But after I heard the name Dufresne for the third time, I had the sneaking suspicion our free ride might be coming to an end. Less than a minute later, we stopped at a traffic light, and without looking back, our driver said, "You are not Mr. Dufresne, no?" "Well, no," Garland said. "Not exactly. But I'm happy to pay you for your—" It would be wrong to describe the next few moments as a blur, because I didn't actually see anything. I just remember, 1, the rage on our driver's face when he spun around to face us. 2, the hissing sound his pepper spray made when it left the canister. And 3, the pain when an undetermined number of Scoville heat units introduced themselves to my corneas. Pain like I've never felt before, and hope never to feel again. I think Parker pulled me out of the car, but I can't say for sure. A symphony of honking horns filled the air, and our driver was shouting something, but his voice faded and was soon replaced by other voices. Then the sound of bells on an opening door. "Son, how do I ask for water?" Garland yelled at me, but I was too busy rubbing my eyes and moaning to answer. He grabbed me by the shoulders and shouted again, "How do I ask them for water?" And I screamed back, "I don't know," which wasn't entirely true, because I'd mastered French bathroom vocabulary in a classroom setting, but now, with the pressure on, I couldn't even recall the simplest phrases. I heard Garland say, "Oh, toilette?" And a woman somewhere said something in French I didn't catch. "S'il vous plaît," the old man replied, and dragged me down a hallway to the bathroom. "I'm going to die," I said. "You're not going to die," Garland said. "It's just pepper spray." And he splashed the first handful of water on my face. "Just pepper spray? It feels like someone deep-fried my eyeballs." "Your glasses stopped most of it," he said, and grabbed my hands and pushed them into the running water. "Here, keep splashing water in your eyes and try to blink a lot. Parker and I will be waiting in the cafe." "No, don't leave. I don't want to die alone." But he left me there anyway.